Hello, listeners, and welcome to the end of the year edition of the Hey, Did You Know podcast. So year end means holidays. Hey, did you know Americans eat 1.4 billion pounds of turkey every Thanksgiving?
Well, year end also means the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hey, did you know it's the best deals of the season on Hyundai's most popular vehicles?
Well, isn't that interesting? And since we were talking turkey, hey, did you know only male turkeys gobble?
Hey, did you know every new Hyundai comes with America's best warranty and 3 years or 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance?
Hey, did you know the Statue of Liberty is the largest holiday gift ever given?
Hey, did you know when the year ends, so do the deals?
December 30th is National Bacon Day, you know.
It's your journey. Own every mile at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Sign and drive a 2024 Hyundai Palisade with 0 down, 0 first month's payment, and 0 security deposit. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Offer ends January 2nd. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Deck your home with Blinds.com. Blinds.com. DIY or let us install. Free design consultation. Free. Plus free samples and free shipping. Free.
Ho, 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 ho. The holidays aren't over. Celebrate big savings at Blinds.com's biggest year-end blowout. They invented a better way to buy custom window treatments 100% online with upfront pricing, no showroom markups, or misleading quotes from pushy salespeople.
Go right now to Blinds.com. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Hurry to Blinds.com's biggest year-end blowout and save 40% site-wide. Get 40% off right now at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
My 13-year-old acts like a puppy again. Almost overnight, she's a different dog.
Perfect poops.
When people switch their dog's food to the farmer's dog, the effects can seem like magic. But there's no magic involved. It's simply real meat and vegetables with all the nutrients dogs need, instead of highly processed pellets. No tricks, just smarter, healthier pet food delivered in packs portioned for your dog. It's amazing what real food can do. Get 50% off your first order at thefarmersdog.com/nomagicfifty.
It's time to get in the zone. With the 49ers Web Zone. This is the No Huddle Podcast with Al and Brian.
Happy New Year, everybody. The 49ers got back on track with the win against the Commanders. They have the number 1 seed. Everything seems to be breaking their way. I'm Al Sacco with Brian Renick. This is the 49ers Web Zone No Huddle Podcast. I almost forgot what our show was called, but I remembered.
It's New Year's Day.
Long night last night. Yeah, long night last night. Brian, you know what, man? Just where I wanted to start, I guess. You know, Brock Purdy breaks the single-season passing mark for the Niners.
Yep.
I want to talk about him in his season and Brandon Aiyuk, who had another 100-yard game, and he's doing some incredible things too. But I feel like I need to start here. This is a season where we've been talking about, not that it's necessarily make or break because they're going to be good for the next couple of years, but the window's getting tight with this core. And we keep talking about Super Bowl, and they want to get the Super Bowl ring. They want to get this championship done. I feel like getting the bye and the number 1 seed was a big part of that, just to get people healthy. And we'll talk about that too. But big part of that, they're going to be home, and everything broke right for them this weekend to the point where you're like, holy shit, is this just like, I don't want to say like a destiny thing, but it's just, it feels like things are just rolling their way.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Yesterday morning I had my buddy Kyle texted me. And he's like, so what are we hoping for today? And I was like, well, best case scenario, right? 49ers win, Cardinals beat the Eagles. You know, the Cowboys had beaten the Lions the night before. All those 2 things happened today, and we lock up the 1 seed. And he's like, you know, well, it's not likely that the Cardinals are going to beat the Eagles. And I was like, I'm actually not convinced that the Eagles are going to beat the Cardinals. Like, I legitimately wasn't convinced because I just don't feel like the Eagles have been playing very well lately. I feel like the 49ers, I don't want to say the 49ers broke them because they were 10-1. They were breaking. Yeah. They're 10 and their 10-1 was very, in my estimation, my opinion, was very fraudulent in regards to, whether or not they are a dominant 10-1 team. And so I was like, the Giants just gave the Eagles all that they could handle. And I don't know. I'm not convinced that the Eagles are gonna win that game. And then lo and behold, they allow Kyler Murray to march down the field and they get that touchdown, and then the Eagles lose, and all of a sudden the 49ers have clinched the 1 seed. And we had talked about last show how another possible scenario that would benefit the 49ers is a victory over the Commanders, and then a Seahawks loss and a Rams victory, which would clinch the playoffs for the Rams. That also happened. The Steelers beat the Seahawks, which again,
who would have thought Mason Rudolph was going to jumpstart that offense? It's
well,
insane.
and not only that, but it just really felt like you said, like everything fell into place. My squad won, the 49ers won, the Eagles lost. I love reveling in that. And let's be perfectly honest, the Cowboys lost on national television and then got lucky from a bad call from the refs, because there's certainly evidence out there that Decker indeed did report. But there's also apparently, I guess it was an illegal formation also. So, it is what it is. But again, people saw them lose, and then they didn't end up getting the loss in the win column. So it was the best of both worlds, right? Needed the Lions to lose. Love watching the Cowboys lose. Got to watch them lose, but then miraculously they get the victory, and then it just helps the 49ers. And then, the Seahawks lose as well. So it was a great weekend for 49ers fans.
That Lions Cowboys game changed everything for the 49ers. So you have what happened. It looked to me like Decker reported. I mean, he went up to him and, and it apparently, from what people are saying who are on the field and stuff, the refs screwed it up. And that is a huge, we've talked about how incompetent the refs are forever. And they are week in and week out. They cost teams games.
Yes.
And they cost the Lions here a chance at the number 1 seed.
Sure.
Probably the number 2 seed. And it helps the 49ers in the sense that, okay, the Niners don't have to play the Rams this week. If they win that game, the Niners have to beat the Rams this week, and everything is different. Yep. And for the Lions, again, as a Niners fan, you don't give a shit, I guess. But in terms of the NFL, they got absolutely screwed. Yeah. And for me, I'm sick of the officials. This is I understand it's a game. Football is a game. But in reality, this is a billions of dollars business. This is a business. There are billions of dollars on the line. There are jobs on the line for coaches and things like that. And you have these refs who just can't get shit right. This is a massive error and it really you could argue, almost what happens in the playoffs. The Lions are a really good home team. This may cost the Lions. It could cost them a championship, really. Sure. It could if things break a certain way. So for that to happen, and I'm not like a fire this guy, fire that guy person, but that dude needs to lose his job. Brad Allen.
Yeah.
If he messed it up that bad, and they have, I'm sure they have microphones on the field, they could hear what actually happened. If he got the number wrong and messed it up that bad, dude should not. I know they downgraded him for the playoffs. He should not be officiating. It's just that simple. If you can't handle that moment or just any moment in a game, you shouldn't be doing it. It just is what it is to me. So they have to get good officials in there, because this shit's got to stop happening. But again, if you're a Niners fan, you don't care, because this team gets the rest now.
It was a huge benefit to the 49ers. And to me, that the number 1 seed, home field advantage, I don't care. The 49ers travel incredibly well. They play well on the road. I wouldn't be worried about the 49ers not getting home field advantage, but it's that extra rest. It's an extra week of rest for guys like Eric Armstead, who now has, you could argue, 3 weeks to continue to rest before needing to play in against whatever opponent they play in the divisional round. And then you get to rest guys like Christian McCaffrey. You get to rest guys like Trent Williams, right? As hopefully Jalen Moore comes out of the concussion protocol. And, it's an interesting, I guess, dilemma for Kyle Shanahan to have. He even said after the game, he's like, you only have 53 guys. You can't rest everybody. And that's the thing is, you know, you can see in the past, I think about the Rams in 2018? I think it was 2018. The year before the Niners went to the Super Bowl, where the Rams got the 1 seed and they rested guys in that week 17 game because it was still the 16 game season. And then they came out flat in their divisional round game. And I believe they lost, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, it's kind of a delicate balance, but I would expect essentially what amounts to like a preseason, like a preseason share of snaps for the starters, where you might see Brock Purdy for a series, you might see him for a quarter, you might see him for a half. I don't think you're going to see him for a half. I think you'll see him for probably like the first quarter, again, just to make sure that you're not rusty, right? 2 weeks off is a lot for players. And so, you know, there's certain, like I said, I think there's certain players where you could take a couple weeks off and not, you know, and not lose a step. I'm thinking of Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams in particular, but no, it's just a huge, it's just a huge benefit to this team, especially in a season, you know, in a 17 game season where, you know, their bye was 9 weeks ago. You know, they've gone as long now after the bye as they did before the bye. So for them to get another bye is just humongous. And, you know, this team earned the 1 seed. I don't think there's any way to, you know, to say that they didn't. And you could even see, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, Mike Silver, friend of the show, had his phone up streaming the Eagles Cardinals game in the tunnel, and Debo, Aiyuk, Kittle, and Tabor Pepper all gathered around Mike Silver, and they watched James Conner score. And, you know, they got hyped because they're like, yeah, like that's number 1 seed. And then there's also, I saw on TikTok this morning, the 49ers TikTok account tweeted out a video of them watching a TV in the locker room. They watched the interception to end the game, and you could see them all cheering and number 1 seed. And it was just, you know, this team wanted it, this team needed it, and it's going to be huge for them moving forward.
Selling a little or a lot? Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage, to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's here to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 15% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. And Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast.
Imagine the softest sheets you've ever felt. Now imagine them getting even softer over time. I'm here to tell you about Boll & Branch and how you can discover this new level of softness with their iconic sheets. In a recent customer survey, 96% responded that Boll & Branch sheets get softer with every wash. They source the rarest 100% organic cotton for an incredible softness to start. Then they skip the toxins and harsh chemicals for a natural feel unlike anything else, and it all comes together with their signature weave. This special design feels buttery, breathable, and unlocks new levels of softness with every wash, and they stand behind their promise of softness. With their 30-night guarantee, you can wash, style, and sleep in their sheets for an entire month. If during the 30 nights, you don't love your sheets or feel them getting softer and softer, you can send them right back. No questions asked. So head to BowlandBranch.com for 15% off your first order with code Odyssey. That's BOLL and branch.com. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/stream and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Kentucky, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700, or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana, visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia, or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
Yeah, I want to ask Mike next time we talk to him how big that was. Because do you remember when Mike, I don't remember what year it was, but there was a game with Aaron Rodgers where something happened and he went up to Aaron Rodgers on the field and was like, what the fuck? And he's got a picture of him raising his arms, and that was his Twitter thing for a while. I want to ask him where we're doing the video with the Niners is in that echelon of moments that he's had with some players.
Sure.
I thought that was pretty cool. Him with the phone and Debo and those guys watching it. That was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned the rust. I'm thinking about that too a little bit. And I feel like you want to play Purdy. Like you said, maybe a quarter, just some high percentage shit, right? Just, little pass, dink and dunk a little bit here and there. Just get him some reps, then get him the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Same with I probably wouldn't play Debo or Kittle. Or I don't know. Do you need to play any of those guys?
I'd at least rest Kittle, especially after that hit he took.
And he's played all 16 games. Kittle.
Yeah.
He has anything. Give him. He's a very physical guy. Give him a week off. Debo's been a little bit banged up, so I feel like maybe he wouldn't play. McCaffrey with the cap, absolutely put him on ice. Put him in bubble wrap. Put him on ice. We'll see you January 20th or whatever it is. And same thing with Trent Williams. Just he's been banged up. Put him on ice. And hopefully, in this game, it was one of the games where. I guess we really don't have to go through the game that much, but the Niners defense didn't look good to me at times. But you look up and they only give up 10 points.
Right.
And they've had a few games like that. It reminded me of when they played the Giants and the Cardinals earlier in the season, where you're like, how the hell is this a close game at half? And then they end up blowing them out. I kind of thought that's what was going to happen. But in this game, Sam Howell helped them out a lot by being Sam Howell. He got pressured and threw 2 pretty bad picks that he probably shouldn't have throwing the ball there. But the Niners didn't look great. And again, they were able to run on the 49ers. They need Eric Armstead back.
Yeah.
That's the one little word. And again, look, it looks like they're going to be healthy for the playoffs with the rest, so this shouldn't matter. But it just feels like you take one of these stars out and things just don't look right. And I feel like they should have enough talent to overcome some of this stuff. And I guess they do at the end of the day. But they needed to get Armstead back there. So this rest is huge because the defense to me just it hasn't looked like itself in 3 weeks. Despite only giving up 10 points.
Right, exactly. And, I was never concerned about this game, but it was you go into half and you're like 13-10, what?
Yeah, why are you hang around?
I expected to absolutely blow this team out, especially attacking their defense. And their defense, to their credit, played a lot better than I thought that they would.
Yeah.
Honestly, but here's the thing. We've been talking about it with 49er buddies, and somebody asked me last night at the New Year's Eve party I was at, who scares you in the NFC? And I was being perfectly honest, and I was like, there really isn't anybody. You look at what they need to work on. The biggest one being run defense. The Cowboys don't run the ball. Detroit runs the ball, but I just don't think Detroit's defense is going to get them to the point where the 49ers would see them anyway. I guess they could see them in the divisional round if the Cowboys win their well, no, they wouldn't, because
they would play
the Eagles are the 5 seed now.
Right.
The Cowboys are the 2 seed, the Lions are the 3 seed, the Bucks are the 4 seed currently, and the Eagles are the 5 seed, the Rams are the 6 seed, and the Packers are currently the 7 seed. I don't see any upsets in there outside of the Eagles beating the Bucks. But even if the Bucks beat the Eagles, that would be a 49ers Bucks or a 49ers Eagles, because those are the 2 lower seeds. So I don't think again it would Detroit. I don't see any team that would threaten the weakness of the 49ers defense, which right now is their run defense, in the NFC field. And so, really what you're talking about is it needs to get on track for a potential Super Bowl matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, who on Sunday dismantled the Miami Dolphins and just absolutely looked like
scary football team,
look like the best team in the league. That isn't the 49ers. I think it's pretty evident that the 49ers and the Ravens are the 2 best teams in the NFL, and the Ravens absolutely got it, on the Niners 2 weeks ago. So yeah, it's concerning, but I think the biggest thing is getting Eric Armstead back, and also getting Sebastian Joseph Day kind of up to speed for the playoffs. That's another thing that will be nice with the break, is to give him, some extra time to get, I guess, situated, if you will, in the 49ers defense. And then, you hope that those 2, along with Javon Hargrave, just upgrade your run defense just overall. And then you're kind of back on track, and you've got an all-pro in Travarius Ward. Demo is playing well. Ambry Thomas, is doing his best. Hasn't been quite as good as he was, but I think you'll end up getting Jair Brown back for the playoff run. I think they missed him a little bit yesterday. And so, there's just, the other thing is, they had to fly cross country. It was a 10 a.m., body clock game. Like, those games aren't easy. And the fact that, again, they still ended up winning 27-10, should have been 30-10, because I don't know why Kyle just didn't kick the field goal. But it wasn't the prettiest game, but it was what they needed. And now they don't even have to worry about the Rams, which to me is a bonus, because those games, well, and not only that, but those games, I feel like for both squads, they end up with a lot of injuries coming out of that game, because they don't like each other. So
I wanted no part of it.
Yeah, to not have to worry about that game at all is bonus for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks, refs, I guess, for that. So unbelievable.
And Kyler Murray.
Yeah, and Kyler Murray.
Little Kyler.
Let's give the Cardinals some credit there.
Yeah.
Here's the thing too, and I'm thinking about what I want to talk about after this game. And we've talked a lot about Brock Purdy, but how do you not talk about him? Sort of kind of want to put a bow on everything. I know there's a game left, but we don't really feel like he's going to play much in this game. So I kind of want to put a bow on what he did. So, before I do that, let me say the Niners are the first team in NFL history to have a 1,000-yard rusher, 2 1,000-yard receivers, and a 1,000-yard tight end. So there's been teams that have had, I think the 2004 Colts were the last one to have a 1,000-yard rusher and 3 1,000-yard receivers, but it was Stokely, Harrison, and Wayne. It was not a tight end. So this is the first team to have a tight end in those 3. Just phenomenal year, fun year. It's fun when you do this shit. It's fun when you watch your team do this. And the trigger man's Brock Purdy, who broke the 49ers all-time passing mark. It's 4,280 passing yards this season, which is 2 more than Jeff Garcia had at the previous mark. So, and Purdy recorded his 10th career game with 120-plus rating, which surpasses Russell Wilson for the most such games by a player in his first 2 seasons. And Purdy's they haven't even played 2 full seasons.
Right.
He played five last year, which makes it even more unbelievable. And I read this too. Was it Nick Wagner who said this? Somebody put it out on Twitter. Purdy was 5 for 5 with 112 yards on a TD of throws of 15-plus air yards on Sunday. So for the season, he's completed 67% of those throws, which if it holds up, would be the best by any QB since ESPN began tracking air yards in 2006. You know,
that was Nick Wagner. Yeah.
It was Nick Wagner said, okay. So, and if there was any play that showed what a game manager Brock Purdy was, it was when he got the rush came at him. He rolled right, pointed to Aiyuk, and then threw across the field because game managers do that all the time. Right.
Yep.
Just an incredible play. I thought that just showed what he is. He makes things happen. He is in no way a game manager. He makes things happen down the field. Another thing he did, you know, because I got all the games on here. I got my TVs going, and I like the Bills too. The Bills are like my second team. So I'm watching the Bills game, and the Niners game is here, and I'm kind of paying attention to the Bills game. And it was the first series, and Purdy just drops back, looks to, his first couple reads not there. He pops it to McCaffrey, and then you're in 2nd and 2 or whatever it was, second manageable. Turn around a couple minutes later, Josh Allen, it was his first snap, or maybe it was vice versa, whatever. But anyway, Josh Allen drops back, looks left, looks at James Cook standing right there, 4 yards there, doesn't want to throw to him because he holds the ball and gets set. And it drives me crazy with Josh Allen. I'm always like, dump it off, second and manageable. Just the little things that Purdy does like that. Okay, there's nothing there. I'm just going to pop this down to CMC, and now it's 2nd and 2. Those kind of things are great. And there were also plays in this game that weren't there that he was rolling out and seeing what he could do, and he just threw the ball away, which was good to see because that was an issue too. So those things, before we even get into the season numbers, just incredible to watch him week in and week out. And he had the one real bad game last week. The other thing that really impressed me, Brian, was it clearly didn't get in his head at all.
Right.
He just looked fine again. And you just never know, right? He's had bad games, but this was the worst game of his career in primetime on Christmas. Is this going to affect him? And it didn't. And you can't teach that. Some dudes just have it.
Well, and I definitely felt like, I do feel like Kyle Shanahan threw him a bone, if you will, because it definitely felt like that first series that they ran on offense. It felt like I tweeted out, it kind of felt like Kyle Shanahan's mea culpa to Christian McCaffrey. Like, my bad. Like, we probably should have featured you more against that Ravens team. I don't know why I came out and just thought that I was going to throw all over the best pass defense in the NFL. Again, I don't know if that was ego. I don't know what it was. But at the same time, somebody pointed out the Ravens had a very similar game plan where they were trying to attack the 49ers through the air, even though their run defense is the weakest part of their defense. It's just that the Ravens were more successful than the 49ers were. But, I do think that Kyle Shanahan did a good job of easing Purdy into the game, just again, to get just that confidence back. And then once he did, then we saw the Brock that we've seen for, 16 or we can say 15 of the 17 games. Again, that game against the Browns wasn't the best, but it just, it's what else I love is that, again, I saw a video from the locker room after the game, and Shanahan gives Purdy the game ball because he broke the franchise record. And, Purdy immediately was like, listen, this isn't my award. I only have this because of you guys. And just, again, really defers praise to the team. And one of the things that I loved is he said, we've got a squad. And I was like, yeah, we do have a squad. Like, right on. You're right. And I think, again, for the most part, Brock Purdy understands his role in the offense. He understands that he isn't Patrick Mahomes, but not only that, he doesn't need to be Patrick Mahomes because he has Debo, he has Christian McCaffrey, he has Brandon Aiyuk, he has George Kittle, right? And it's understanding, play within yourself, play within the scheme, and good things are going to happen because that's how we've set it up. And to me, to have the humility to just be a distributor, to be a John Stockton in this offense full of, 3-point shooters, if you will. That's exactly what is needed. And I don't think every quarterback would fit in that because there are some quarterbacks who, again, think like, this is my show, and they're going to try and elevate their game, sometimes to the detriment of, the team itself. And that's not Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is selfless within this offense. And I just really love to see it. And it's exactly what this offense needed. And again, I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Yeah, and so he breaks the passing record. If everything stays status quo, he's going to be the highest rated 49ers quarterback in a season ever, in a full season, at 113. Young was 112.8, which I believe was the next highest. So he just did, it was just, again, it's an incredible season when you watch something like this. And if you go to what he's done just in the league this year too, so he's second, things are going to happen in week 17, but as of right now, he's second in passing yards. And there are, let's see, how many people have thrown for 4,000 yards so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks have thrown for 4,000 yards or more this season. Tua, Purdy, Goff, Prescott, and Mahomes. Purdy did it on 444 attempts.
Yeah.
The next lowest attempt number is Tua with 533. Just insane. Insanely how efficient he's been. His rating leads the NFL 113. Second is 104.4. His QBR 72.7 is the best in the NFL. His yards per game ended up being, as of right now, fourth. His yards per completion 13.9. The next closest is 12.9. His TD percentage 7.0. The next closest is 5.8. His yards per attempt 9.6. The next closest is 8.4. Now his interception percentage went up to 2.5 because he had one bad game.
Yeah,
that's essentially what skewed it. And that one bad game cost him the MVP, because Lamar's going to win the MVP after getting 5 touchdowns against Miami. Yeah. But irregardless, he's probably second in the MVP race. If you told anybody that Brock Purdy was going to be the runner-up to the MVP of the 2023 season, they would have said that you were absolutely insane.
Yeah.
This is a storybook season. This is something, if let's see what happens over the next month or so, but could be something you make a movie out of. It's just absolutely great NFL story. There aren't many of them. You have your Kurt Warners, you have your Tom Brady's. Brock Purdy's right up there. Brock Purdy has solidified himself as one of the upper tier quarterbacks in the league. You can put him wherever you want to put him, but he's certainly a top quarterback. If you don't want to put him with the Mahomes, well, nobody's with Mahomes, but if you don't want to put him in the top elite, he's certainly in the next tier. He's the top quarterback in the league. He was a 7th round pick. It looks like he's going to be here for a long time. It's just a phenomenal story. And I hope Niners fans who lived through the 2004 season when they threw for 2,100 yards and 8 touchdowns and 21 interceptions with Rattay, a rookie, Alex Smith, Ken Dorsey, and Cody Pickett. We lived through that stuff and just enjoy this. Don't nitpick it. You got your franchise guy. It was an awesome season. Everybody wants to win the Super Bowl, but that doesn't take away from that. It was an awesome season.
Yeah. And, you mentioned it. Brock Purdy did all of this on 444 attempts, which, again, when you look at Garcia and Young and Montana, the 3 quarterbacks that he passed for most passing yards in a season, all of them had over 500 attempts. I believe the lowest was 532. So again, just incredibly efficient. But one of the other things that I appreciate is he broke that record in 16 games, which again, now that we have 17 games, it kind of feels like anytime a record is broken, you always look was it in 17 games or 16? So again, it's apples to apples here because he did it in 16 games. And this is a team, this is a franchise that so many people look at as like a quarterback driven franchise, because just like the Packers, right? You went from Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer, right? There was that transition there, Montana to Young, right? But you've also got guys like Brody and Y.A. Tittle, who are names from the past, but still important names in the world of quarterbacking in NFL history. And Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft last year, is the guy that sits on top in terms of some of these records. And it's just wild to think about. And that is, Brock Purdy deserves his kudos. That's also a Kyle Shanahan stat, if you will. But I think more importantly than any of this, I think the most important stat for this team specifically, led by Kyle Shanahan since 2017, the number one stat that to me tells the story of the season is that Brock Purdy started all 16 games. That was our worry. That was our concern. Yep. That's been the purgatory that this team has been in every year except 2019. And what happened in 2019? Jimmy Garoppolo didn't miss a start. And what happened to this team? They made it to the Super Bowl. So again, it just a big, and this is actually only the third time in the last 8 years for Kyle Shanahan that he has had a quarterback play all 16 games. That was Matt Ryan in 2016. And now Jimmy Garoppolo in 2019, and now Brock Purdy in 2023. And the first two made it to the Super Bowl. So again, there's a correlation to be drawn there between how effective Kyle Shanahan is as a coach and a play caller when he has a quarterback that starts every game, and the success that team has in relation to that. So another awesome stat. And I think, we said it earlier. I'm certain that Brock will probably start next week against the Rams for, like we said, a series, 2 series, a quarter, whatever. So that'll be 17 games that he started. So he'll start all 17 games. But what's interesting is you look around the league at just how many teams have had to play QB2, QB3, QB4, QB5, right? There are some teams that have had just the worst luck at quarterback, which has been a 49ers staple for a while now. And just, again, the fact that the 49ers aren't one of those teams is just refreshing for sure.
Yeah. And, when a quarterback has a great season, receivers have great seasons too. And the other guy I wanted to highlight is Brandon Aiyuk, because he's had one of, again, a top 49er season. And let's just look where he is right now. So single season, he is 12th in 49ers history at the moment with 1,317 yards. He is also, let's see where he is, yards per game. He had 87.8. He's tied for 13th. Now, here's something kind of cool. We think Deebo Samuel had that amazing season in 2021. And obviously rushing had a lot to do with that with Deebo.
Yeah.
When you look at his receiving numbers, which were also amazing, 77 catches, 1,405 yards, 18.2 yards per reception, 87.8 yards per game. And then when you look at Brandon Aiyuk, 72 catches, 1,317 yards, 87.8 yards per game. So identical to Deebo.
Yeah.
Deebo just played the one more game. And they had, what was the other thing I was looking at? 18.3 yards per reception. So they did it in very different ways, because Deebo was more catch and run, and Aiyuk was more get the ball downfield. But they had a pretty identical season statistically. And from Steve Berman, Aiyuk is 6th in the NFL in receiving this year. He has at least 27 fewer targets than anyone else in the top 10, and the highest first down percentage, just about 82% of anyone with at least 600 yards. His yards per game was 8th in the NFL this year. And again, like I said, his receiving yards were 6th. His yards per reception, number 1 at the moment, 18.3. His yards per target tied for number 1 at the moment at 13. We said when the season started, we expected Brandon Aiyuk to ascend into one of the top receivers in the NFL, and he did. He did this year. He's a top 7-8 guy in the NFL. He's going to get paid. I really, really, really hope it's with the 49ers. And somebody said it on the broadcast that Kyle Shanahan said, there were issues a couple years ago, but he's one of my warriors now. So he's certainly earned his stripes in Kyle Shanahan's eyes and the fans' eyes and everything else. And I think he's somebody they're going to make a point to keep around.
My 13-year-old acts like a puppy again. Almost overnight, she's a different dog.
Perfect poops.
When people switch their dog's food to the farmer's dog, the effects can seem like magic. But there's no magic involved. It's simply real meat and vegetables with all the nutrients dogs need, instead of highly processed pellets. No tricks, just smarter, healthier pet food delivered in packs portioned for your dog. It's amazing what real food can do. Get 50% off your first order at thefarmersdog.com/nomagicFifty.
My 13-year-old acts like a puppy again. Almost overnight, she's a different dog.
Perfect poops.
When people switch their dog's food to the farmer's dog, the effects can seem like magic. But there's no magic involved. It's simply real meat and vegetables with all the nutrients dogs need, instead of highly processed pellets. No tricks, just smarter, healthier pet food delivered in packs portioned for your dog. It's amazing what real food can do. Get 50% off your first order at thefarmersdog.com/nomagicFifty.
Deck your home with Blinds.com. Blinds.com. DIY or let us install. Blinds.com. Free design consultation. Free. Plus free samples and free shipping. Free.
Ho! The holidays aren't over. Celebrate big savings at Blinds.com's biggest year-end blowout. They invented a better way to buy custom window treatments 100% online with upfront pricing, no showroom markups, or misleading quotes from pushy salespeople.
Go right now to Blinds.com. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Satisfaction guaranteed.
Hurry to Blinds.com's biggest year-end blowout and save 40% site-wide. Get 40% off right now at Blinds.com.
Blinds.com.
Rules and restrictions may apply.
You know what I love watching Brandon Aiyuk do almost more than run routes is block. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you watch him block now, he is a dog when he blocks. Like, he is one of the best blocking receivers in the NFL now, which was something that he struggled with, his first 2 years. That's largely why he was in the doghouse. And so it's awesome to see Kyle Shanahan say that he's one of his warriors now, because I think that's Kyle Shanahan acknowledging, like, Brandon is doing what we asked him to do and he's kicking ass at it. And it's just fun to watch. Yeah. Any wide receiver on the 49ers outside of Danny Gray, and that's largely why Danny Gray doesn't see the field, they're just dogs when it comes to blocking. And that's what you have to be in this offense. And it's just fun to watch. And I love Brandon Aiyuk. For me, there's local ties, right? He went to Sierra College for junior college, which is literally 7 minutes away from my home. So, there's that connection. And then, again, my buddy Tim and I were having a conversation during the game about whether Justin Jefferson would have succeeded in this offense the way that Brandon Aiyuk has. And, it came down to, would Justin Jefferson buy into blocking the way that Brandon Aiyuk has? And I obviously you can't answer that question, but I don't know that he would have. And I think that's what separates Aiyuk. And then, to be that kind of blocker, but also arguably, I think, the best route runner in the NFL. It's just a unique skill set that he has. And, I think he would be a number one on, I don't know, 28 other teams, maybe, or less possibly. But I certainly hope that they figure out a way to pay him and keep him here. I think there are ways to do it. His 5th year option is next year. They can extend him and that extension can lower his cap hit next year on that 5th year option. There's lots of things that they can do. They can get creative, and I think that they will, because I think he's a cornerstone of this offense for sure.
So his yards per target at 13 is the highest in 49ers history for any receiver or any player with more than 7 catches. John Taylor looks like he's second at 12.7. That's actually a receiving record Jerry Rice doesn't have. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, it shows just the kind of year that he's had. What about his yards per reception? Can I figure this out? Pro Football Reference is great. There's probably a way to sort it, but they always do like if one dude caught a pass for 63 yards and that was it, that comes up as the highest yards per catch. So you got to go through and look. Torrey Smith had 20.1 in 2015 on 33 catches. That's 33
catches is not very many.
No. Gene Washington, 46 catches. Is that what that says? Yeah. So there's some people with a little bit higher yards per catch, but Jerry Rice has had 18.9 in 1995. But yeah, still he's had an amazing season. So it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see how far he's come. And yeah, I mean, I just always say, and I've been saying it this whole year, I hope this is a great 49ers team and they're great 49ers players and they've done things that are franchise records. It doesn't happen every year. I just really want to see them finish it, man. I just really want to see this team get the ring and be considered with those legendary guys. I love Joe Montana. I love Jerry Rice. I love Steve Young. I love Ronnie Lott. But I'm sick of living in the past, man. Let's start talking about these guys with those guys.
Absolutely. And it really does feel like it feels kind of fated that it's going to be a rematch with that Baltimore Ravens team. And, it'll be interesting to see, it'll be interesting to see what Kyle Shanahan learned from that game. And then, kind of how he comes out, because, the Ravens played Kyle Shanahan offenses 3 weeks in a row, right? Or 3 out of 4 weeks. They played the Rams, then they played the Niners, and then they played the Dolphins. And they absolutely dominated the Dolphins and the 49ers. The Rams got them a little bit. And I'm wondering if there's more to learn from that game for Kyle Shanahan. And I'm also wondering if he has 2 weeks to prepare for that game, and Mike McDonald will also have 2 weeks to prepare for that game. And he's going to be a head coach next year. He's arguably he is the, NFL assistant coach of the year for what he's done there in Baltimore. But that's a matchup that I am excited about. Now, obviously they have to take care of business. Both teams have to take care of business. The last time the Ravens had the 1 seed was 2019 when they lost in the divisional round at home to the Tennessee Titans. So, they also have to take care of business, but it certainly seems like, based on everything we've seen this season, the 49ers and the Ravens are by far and away the best 2 teams in the NFL. And I would argue that, possibly 3 and 4 exist in the AFC as well. I just think the 49ers are so much better than anybody in the NFC that it's really not even, almost not a discussion about who can threaten the 49ers to represent in the Super Bowl. The only team, and this has largely been the case before the Ravens game, really the only team this season outside of the Ravens that can beat the 49ers is the 49ers. Because even against the Browns, they set that game up to kick a game-winning field goal. And I think Kyle Shanahan, again, if they had to face the Browns, could probably scheme up, a better game plan than he did early in the season. And the 49ers, the offense wasn't quite what it was early in the season as it was later in the season. So, there's that aspect of it as well.
Yeah, the Ravens have a lot to prove too. I mean, Lamar's got 1 playoff win. He's had a ton of playoff disappointment. So Niners have a lot to prove in terms of getting over the hump, getting the championship, and the Ravens have a lot to prove as well. And it seems like those teams are kind of headed on a collision course. But like you said, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. So it's going to be fun. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself or jinx myself.
Totally.
I'll think of shit to worry about by next show.
No doubt. There's always going to be able to find something to worry about, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. All right, I got nothing else. You got anything else?
I do not. Happy New Year to all the listeners. This has been a blast, and we now have the playoffs to look forward to. So excited to head into the second season, talking about this 49er squad. And it's been a hell of a ride, and I have a good feeling about where this ride is going to end up. And I'm excited to go along with you, Al, and with the listeners as well.
It's going to be fun for sure. Thanks everybody. For Brian, I'm Al.
Later.
1, 2, 3.
2400 Sports is an Odyssey company.
Nobody wants a surprise in their jelly donut. It's toothpaste? That's because the middle is the most important part. At Graybar, we're at the middle of electrical and datacom jobs across the country, connecting installers, facility managers, and business owners with smart solutions for their most challenging projects, which means stocking and delivering crucial products on time and on budget with no surprises, thanks to our nationwide logistics network. Yep, Graybar does that.